Welcome back to the Unrelated RC Podcast. I am Eric.
I'm Riley.
And we're back for another week of doing this, I guess. So we've got some stuff to go over this week. We've got quite a bit of weekly news going on this week. A lot of things that didn't really stand out too crazy, but some cool stuff for sure.
Yeah, it was kind of a slower week on the scale scene, but even on the slower weeks, there's still stuff coming out, things happening, companies doing stuff.
Oh, yeah. And then we'll talk about our week in RC. We both did some big changes to our cars and some upgrades and went and did some races and some parts breaking and all sorts of stuff.
Just our weekly shenanigans.
Oh, yeah. So we're going to jump in, get our feet wet, I guess.
Kind of the biggest scale news. Sorry, the biggest week. Sorry, everybody.
The biggest news of the week was probably the Axial Fest date change and registration opened.
Yeah, for sure. So Axial Fest was originally supposed to be kind of mid-May.
Mid-June.
Yeah, mid-June.
Yeah, late June, really.
And they moved it to the end of July.
Yeah, last weekend of July, I think. And they released prices and everything. It's a $70 entry fee, I think.
And like a $70 parking fee.
Yeah, $70 for RV camping and $40 for tent and truck camping, I would think. I don't know.
Yeah, because I don't really know how Cisco Grove did it, but I'm pretty sure all the camping was through Cisco Grove.
Yeah.
And then from there, like you didn't pay Axial anything to come in and camp.
Yeah, you didn't pay like who was putting on the event. You definitely just did it through the campground. So
yeah,
this year it's a little different. You're paying through Axial, and it's going to be in a parking lot at Donner Ski Ranch, which will kind of be nice to be out of the dirt a little bit.
Yeah, and we'll kind of be used to that because we're used to like moto races, and it was all dry camping.
Yeah, it's no big deal for us. It's not going to bother us. I know a lot of people were a little discouraged about not having power plug-ins and everything, but there's plenty of people there, and
I think you'll just have to bring a generator, and that's what you're going to be charging.
Or
batteries.
Even hooking your charger up to your car if you have a charger with alligator connectors, like I know mine is. So
the Axial came out with a press release, and they said they moved it because Donner Ski Ranch or whatever, wherever they're hosting it, they had a lot of snow this winter.
Yeah, they had some ridiculous amount. I want to say it was something like 16 feet or something. I think they had more snow there in a day than like Chicago, or don't quote me on Chicago, but some cities back east, they had more snow in the day than some of those big wintry cities back east had all year.
Yeah, it's pretty good. It's been a super good winter for snow. Like these past 2 winters have been pretty dry, but this one got it pretty good.
Yeah, especially over here on the West Coast, we've had a really wet winter, to say the least. We've had probably a couple rainstorms every week. It seems like the end of this winter, we've had quite a bit of storms.
Yeah, it'll be good, though. It'll make the summer nice and green and have a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's definitely already, with spring kind of hitting already, it's a lot of greens already coming up out in the desert. We went out this weekend, and it's kind of a trip to see how much green is really coming through.
Yeah, and it's already getting pretty hot. I know you went down to Logandale.
Yeah, I went down to Logandale this week and did a little drive-in, and we'll kind of touch on that a little more. And it was hot down there, which that's probably 45 minutes from Vegas, and it was 75, and I was sweating so hard, and I really didn't even get that crazy. I was just kind of cruising around.
And you say it's probably how far from Vegas? Probably like 40 minutes from Vegas?
Yeah, 45 to an hour, depends.
And that's probably an hour from us?
Yeah, I would say 45 an hour, same.
Yeah. And also on the Axial, kind of the Axial plane, wraiths hit the stores.
Yeah, the Wraith 1.9 hit the stores. I know our local hobby shop got a few in. RPP Hobby has them in. They're still in stock there, which is pretty crazy for a new Axial release like this to still be in stock.
I thought that was pretty surprising.
Yeah, for sure. With usually on the online stores, they're sold out after pre-orders, so it's Horizon must really be stepping up their game, trying to
get it to the hobby shops.
Yeah, trying to get stuff in stock and getting it all pushed out. I know they, like, RPP wasn't expecting them until April, And our local hobby shop said he was getting them late this month, which is about right. But yeah, they definitely came in earlier than what they were saying.
Than everyone thought they were going to be.
Yeah, for sure. So
I think Horizon's just really pushing the thing to get people to their hobby shops more.
Yeah, and I know a lot of people are really kind of hesitant about Horizon taking over Axial, but I know Horizon has a few companies that are in their divisions that are only sold in local hobby shops.
Yeah.
Like ECX, I believe, is a hobby shop only brand. You cannot buy it online.
That's pretty interesting.
And I think there's one or two more, which is really good to put that back into the locals and help the little guys out.
Yeah, for sure. And like I think the biggest thing with like Horizon taking over Axial, they also are low C.
Yeah.
It's kind of like I kind of always thought those were two big competitors, but like they still are, but they're kind of under the same tent.
Yeah.
Like when we went out to the Mint 400,
yep,
Horizon had a big setup with a bunch of Axial rigs, and then they also had like the new low C Rock Ray trophy truck.
Yeah, the low C Baja Ray,
Yeah,
and the Vatera Ascender. Yeah. It's all under Horizon umbrella. So Spectrum, a bunch of stuff comes out from them.
I think it'll definitely change some things, but I think they're gonna do some good. I think it'll be good.
Yeah, for sure. And I think they're doing good already. I just can't believe how many people were so against it. And a lot of people thought Axial Fest was going to be turned into Horizon Fest. But from what we've seen, it's
only Axial.
It's only Axial in the rules, which is really what it needs to be. I'm glad they're keeping it that way.
Yeah, I was looking at a lot of comments lately, and like people were asking like, oh, can we bring Venteras? Can we bring low Cs? And they're still commenting back, no, only Axials.
Yeah, that's super good to give back to us diehard Axial guys. And I don't know, I'm really glad that Horizon's really stepping up after Hobbyco kind of went under and really hitting it out of the park, doing a lot better, keeping these kits in stock, pushing them out. I know I'm going to pick one up soon. You'll probably pick one up soon.
For sure.
We have a lot of things we'd like to do before this July, really. That's kind of what we're prepping for.
Yeah, that's kind of our benchmark for all our builds. Like we want to have everything done before July.
Yeah, for sure. And by the fire, we might have some stuff built for that too.
Yeah.
If we end up going, but really our main focus is Axial Fest in July.
100%.
So it'll be a pretty big deal. So those Wraith 1.9s will be pretty sweet, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I'm already seeing a few pretty built ones on Facebook in our semi-local Facebook group, and there's some cool looking stuff already coming out. Harley has wheels on his already. Looks super good.
Yeah, there's quite a few people out there on YouTube, social media that have done quite a bit of things, and I think by the time the races come around by this weekend at our local hobby shop, I think there's going to be a couple races out there, and we'll come back on and let you guys know how they do.
Yeah, for sure. We'd really like to put together a 1.9 class for that because we're really only racing 2.2s, and
yeah,
it's kind of just a hammer down fest. Whoever can hit shit the hardest, whoever's not scared to break their shit, really. It's
for sure
kind of outrageous. So 1.9s would be a good breakup for that.
Yeah, definitely. And I just want to touch on the Horizon thing one more time.
Yeah.
If you think about it, they've really put out 2 new Axial rigs since they've been kind of taken over. Like they redid the Yeti Junior and the Wraith 1.9. So I really think they're doing a really good job.
Yeah, they're definitely doing a good job pushing that stuff out. I know I've read some stuff about maybe Axial having prototypes of the Wraith 1.9 at Axial Fest last year, which I cannot confirm because I was not there, but I heard something about that. So maybe they already had that on the drawing board when they bought Axial. So I'm not really too sure on that, but they're definitely kicking ass putting stuff out. So also in weekly news this week, we had Proline release some new Hoosier slicks for the no prep and drag race style guys. I know that's getting pretty big. I've seen a bunch of videos on Instagram. Most of them are converted short course trucks with big brushless power systems, and they prep the street with VHT, and it looks super fun. They have trees and everything, and the Hoosier slicks look really good. I'm a huge sucker for them.
Yeah, that's so rad that I was looking at those on Proline's website, and they look super good. I'm like a sucker for anything scale.
Oh yeah,
Like
for
scale
sure.
drift cars, I think are like, I haven't gotten into them really. Like I had a drift car once a few years ago, didn't have it for very long. I never really got into it, but like there's some guys that get into it.
Yeah.
And it's so gnarly. And like with the scale drag race stuff, like anything scale is just trips my trigger. I'm like, this is badass.
Yeah, for sure. I'm glad that there's more people stepping up and kind of making another spot in the hobby. We kind of haven't really had that before. I know it's started picking up in the last few years. I know J Concepts has some stuff out for that too, but it's really cool to see a licensed tire come in for that, and that tire alone makes me kind of want to build a car for that. They have some pretty sweet bodies out. I don't really know what they're based after. I haven't really looked into it too close, just those tires really.
Yeah. And also with some scale news, RC Four-Wheel Drive released a Raceline wheel for the UDR, Traxxas UDR.
Yeah, they released that Raceline Monster wheel, the super popular Raceline wheel that a lot of their one-to-one racers use. And it's a super good looking wheel. I'm glad someone released one for the UDR because those tires look really proportionate on it.
Yeah.
And with there only being the Trail Ready bead locks, I believe, that came on it, it definitely fills another gap there too. I think it's super cool to see RC Four-Wheel Drive kind of pushing the boundaries, and maybe some other companies will follow in their footsteps on that, but I'm not really too sure.
Yeah, definitely. That Traxxas UDR has really that upped the level.
Yeah, we'd really like to get one of those here soon.
Yeah. I think I definitely want to kind of wait till next winter, like kind of dune season.
Yeah.
And like I think I'll definitely try and get my hands on one of those.
Yeah, they look pretty insane with the set of paddles on them. I will say that for sure.
I know when I almost said Losi, the axial trophy truck came out.
Yeah.
Me and you both got a.
Yep.
Yeah.
We both put paddles on them, and we took them to Dumont for New Year's. I think we went, and we had a blast with those, and those were just, I don't even know what KV those stock axial motors are. Not very high on 3S, and the UDRs, I believe, run on 6 or 8S. So
yeah, they'll be gnarly.
it would be real fun with a
And
little
they're
bit
pretty
bigger
big.
car.
They're quite a bit bigger.
Yeah, for sure, which will be better in the dunes, really. I don't know.
For sure. And like I remember we were blown away when Axial came out with that trophy truck.
Yeah.
We're like, dude, it has so much travel. It looks so scale. But like, and now the Traxxas UDR totally trumps that.
Yeah, we just sit there and look at how the suspension cycled in the rear end with the links and everything, and how real it all looked. I remember it was so cool. I really wish I wouldn't have sold mine off.
Yeah. And I still have mine. I know I've talked about it on here. That's been definitely one of the best RC cars. Like I don't bash things, but that is the only car that I have really bashed.
Yeah.
And like that thing has held up so insanely good, and it like blows me away.
Yeah, you can really just hammer down, hit anything as fast as you can, jump as far as you can, and it's obviously not really made for any of that. It's not really made to be a basher.
Yeah.
But they do so good at it, and they just take it like it's nothing.
100%. Like I just have a 5,000 milliamp 3S LiPo that I toss in it every time I go to the dunes or out to the desert, and like it runs every time.
Yeah, and I don't know. We just loved ours. We ran them in the streets, drifted them in the streets. We did all sorts of stuff, and you only had really one problem with yours. You just bent like a turnbuckle or something. I don't really remember.
Yeah, I broke you can see it on our Instagram if you scroll down pretty far. I broke a knuckle.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that was just from like, I think I jumped, hit a rock or something.
Yeah.
And it just like broke a knuckle, but that's with anything. But other than that, I've really never had big issues with it.
Yeah. So also this week in news, not really scale, but Proline released two new carpet racing tires for 10th scale buggies, I believe. One is like a pin style tire, like kind of a classic style pin tire, but it is dual directional with a less aggressive side that you can put out, or a more aggressive side that you can put out, which I know is kind of a design already being put into UTV tires. The company that I'm sponsored by, GBC, has a tire called the TerraMaster that's twin directional, and you can put the soft side out for more soft driving, I guess, and then there's a stiffer side for more hard pack stuff, which is really cool. And then the other tire is kind of like a pretty rugged looking knobby tire. So I've never raced on carpet. I know one of Riley's buddies does some carpet racing, but I've never really done that. So
Yeah, Blake Champlin, I know he's like way into it.
yeah,
And we'd love to get him on the show. I used to drive with him a lot back in the day. Haven't in a while, but would love to have him as a guest on the show.
yeah, for sure. So those new Proline tires look pretty cool for anyone that's into buggy racing. If you haven't seen those, check them out for sure. So another thing, Hobby Tech RC released their CRX Survival 1/10 scale crawler. And it's kind of a cool looking car. You want to touch on that, Riley?
Yeah, I don't think it looks that bad at all. This is kind of the first front-mounted motor car that I've really liked.
Yeah.
It kind of has the axles almost look like the axles off a TRX4.
Yeah.
It's just like they don't have the portals on the end of it, and
it's kind of a mix between like a SCX-10-2 axle and a TRX4 axle, I would say.
the pumpkin looks a lot like a TRX4.
Yeah.
And but I really like how they have the front-mounted battery. I've never really been into that but this one looks really good.
Yeah, I'm not too sold on it, but it would be kind of cool to see one. I don't really know anything about Hobby Tech. I believe it's an overseas brand. Shocks look pretty big and good. Looks like aluminum diff covers maybe. I can't.
Yeah, it has CMS, but it doesn't have panhard link.
Yeah. So that's kind of weird, really. I don't know why they would do that.
Yeah.
But has a 2-speed transmission, threaded aluminum shocks.
I think the links are aluminum on it, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, looks like. And a 324 millimeter wheelbase, which is kind of random. We don't really see that a lot, so I'm not really sure why they went with that, but
The body looks pretty rad. It's kind of like a Willys style body.
yeah, it's kind of like the axial New Kaiser body,
Yeah.
which is I really like on specific builds. Definitely not my favorite, but I think it's cool that there's more companies reaching out to the scale crawling scene. Kind of has a Proline Hyrax copy tire on it too.
Yeah.
A little more aggressive than the Hyrax, bigger lugs, but very similar looking. I don't know. We'll see how long those last.
Yeah.
So, last thing for scale news this week, or just news in general, I guess, is what we're doing this week. Proline released a new body for the Arma Outcast and the Arma Notorious, I believe. So, they released that basher body in a clear body, and also, I believe it's a pre-painted white body, which comes in at about $80 instead of $40, I think, which is pretty cool that they're sending out pre-done bodies. I know it's a huge pain in the ass for someone like me that just wants to slap it on and go drive it. I mean, I'd love to take my time on a paint job, but there's a 90% chance that I'm going to screw that up.
Yeah, and also another thing on paint jobs and with Proline, they released more of their like their airbrush paints.
Yeah, which is cool. There's a ton of airbrush paints out there, so I'm not sure how they're really going to jump into that market, but I know I have a Iwata airbrush that I'd really like to get working again. I've painted one body with it, and I definitely know that it's definitely the way to go. So look into that if you have airbrush or are looking to get into airbrushing your bodies.
Yeah, I've never actually like tried an airbrush body. I've always just done like the normal aerosol can spray paint.
Yeah.
And I would love to do that. I just kind of never really like came across my mind to try to do airbrush body.
Yeah, it's just like so much more precise when you're reaching up in there and trying to spray inside. You're not putting out a match with a fire hose. You're kind of just spraying it exactly where you need to. You can
That's pretty nice.
mist it, just kind of do exactly what you want to do. Be super light with the paint and comes out looking really good. When I was doing my body, I don't even remember what brand paint it was. It was from Michael's craft store.
Yeah.
And it's good enough for Lexan, I guess.
Yeah, I've done a couple bodies, and like I did got some paints just from like a normal Michael's craft store.
Yeah.
And they held up for a long time, and but I think I had two of them that like it cracked from the Lexan. But
Yeah.
that was probably over like they were good for probably like up to like 5-6 months.
Yeah.
And then I think once it kind of got old and a little more
brittle,
not bitter.
Britter.
Yeah, a little more brittle. Yeah, that's when it started cracking off. So definitely go with some good Lexan paint.
Yeah, I will definitely vouch for that. It's pretty discouraging to mess up a $50 body that's brand new, and you have to break out the brake fluid and hope all the paint comes off. Because
I just did that recently. I went
so
to the hobby
frustrating.
shop. I got a axial G6 body. You guys on the YouTube can see it right here. This is actually the second body I've done, because the first one I went and I got some Tamiya red paint, and it was actually I got the wrong code. And it was actually their plastics paint, not their Lexan paint. I was so pissed.
Yeah, it's really easy to slip up and miss that. And I think most airbrush paints are water-based, so I think almost all of them will work on Lexan. Don't quote me on that for sure, but as far as I know, I think that's how it works with the airbrush paint. Most of that stuff is water-based, so it's pretty flexible inside the Lexan.
Yeah. So I think that's really all we got for like weekly news.
Yeah, for sure.
Moving on, I think it was like Tuesday.
Wednesday. It was the day after we recorded the last podcast.
Yes, it was. We went over to the hobby shop because I don't know why we went. We went for something.
I don't even know. Yeah, we went to get you servo tape is what we really went for.
Yes, and then we were there shopping around for a minute, and he had two sets of Curry axles for SCX 10.2s. He had a black set.
Yeah, the AR-44 size.
Yeah, he had a black set and a silver set, and like me and Eric have been eyeing these up for months.
Oh yeah, they've been sitting in there just staring us down every time we go in there.
And like Eric's looking at it, and I look over at him, and I said, "If you do it, I'll do it." And he's like, "No way." And I was like, "Yeah." So like before we know it, 10 minutes later, we were both walking out of the RC shop with a set of Curry axles.
Yeah, so both of our SCX 10s are now on the Vanquish Rockjock axles. Mine are black, Riley's are silver, which was not my choice, but
yeah,
we had a little argument over that.
That was my only dilemma. I said, I'm not getting the silver. I'm not getting the black. I have to get silver. My bomber has silver, and I was like, I can't do black.
Yeah, so I walked out of that hobby shop with a cool like $500 purchase with axles, knuckles for those axles. I bought some 2.2 Hyrax tires for my bomber since I was frustrated from last week doing so bad at the race, and a receiver and a few other little things. But it's
we walked out of there and with ripper bumpers.
Yeah, you got a ripper bumper later that week, and then when we went in Friday for our little local meetup deal, I grabbed a raw ripper bumper that he had, or the silver finish, not raw. But yeah, I picked that up, and I also picked up a set of incision shocks, which
talk about like, did you really notice a big difference with the incision shocks over the stock shocks?
Yeah, I noticed. I was running the stock shocks on the link bolt, so they were pretty low, so I wasn't getting very much articulation. So I put those little bit shorter Vanquish shocks in the regular position, and I definitely noticed a lot more flex, but I do not like how stiff the rear end is, and maybe even the front. I think they're both a little stiff.
Yeah.
Doesn't seem to like to take to steep climbs very easy. It kind of just hops the back end around a bit. So I think eventually here pretty soon I'll order the spring kit and look into doing that, because I just think they're a little too stiff for my rig. It's pretty light. It's just I run a small 2200 milliamp 3-cell battery, and it's just not a very heavy car, and I think the springs are a little oversprung for that.
Yeah. One of the big complaint, honestly, I had with my incision shocks, when I got them out of the box, the cap to put the oil on was on insanely tight.
Oh yeah, so are mine.
Yeah, and like I had to I know you had to put yours in a vise.
Yeah.
To get them off, and like I gripped mine with some pliers, and I ended up bending the tube.
Yeah.
From I remember I had to heat it up with like a little torch, because it was like on there so much, and then like I grabbed it with pliers and did it, and it ended up like putting a little notch in my tube. So like my the piston drags.
Oh, yeah, that sucks.
It's not that bad, but like I don't know, it's just like kind of want to like.
Yeah, I clamped mine in that vise right at the very bottom, kind of where that like the O-ring holder kind of threads on. That's where I clamped mine, and that
was my mistake. That's not Incision's fault. Like I was just wondering why it was on there so tight. But
yeah, like, that is kind of
it was my fault.
Weird.
But
I don't know why they're on there even that tight, because I know mine were ridiculous. I had to put them in a vise to get them off, and we were thrashing to do it at the hobby shop, and luckily he had a little smooth jaw vise that I used.
Yeah. So our SCX 10.2s are definitely at the next level. Curry axles under them. We both got the Incision shocks. We both have the Vanquish Ripper bumpers.
Yeah.
So we really have identical cars right now, other than bodies and wheels.
Yeah, electronics and wheels and bodies. Yeah, they're pretty close. Tires are different, but
they really do drive very, very similar. There's not many things that you can get up and I can't, and vice versa.
Yeah, and like we said in the previous podcast, I've been really hesitant about getting machined axles for my SCX-10 just because I'm so afraid of them dragging on the rocks with that low tire height, I guess.
I was actually very surprised that these didn't drag that bad.
Yeah,
I thought they were going to be worse.
Yeah, they really don't drag that bad. I mean, it's cringy running those $300 some odd in axles across some rock that's just eating them up, but at the same time you just kind of use a little wheel speed when you know you need it, and it's not a problem at all.
Yeah, it's kind of different because you get used to that plastic, like the sound, like but like this, it's just like a thud.
Yeah, you can hear it just stop, and I don't know, it's bad. So damn cringy. I don't know why.
And we both have the same. We have the Ripper bumpers, so they make the same noises. And
yeah, when we're coming down something steep into another rock, you can hear both of our cars just completely thud into that next rock, and it's.
Yeah, I honestly don't know why, but it's just part of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we just love it.
It's almost more like satisfying at the same time that it's super cringy, but
I think it just kind of adds another element into your driving. Like, like when you're driving a 1-to-1 rig, you got to think about it. Like, I can't go over that rock because like my axle's gonna drag and like I won't make it. Like it'll grab, and like these really do grab rocks bad. Yeah, that's one thing I noticed on my bomber with the F9s. They grab super, super bad.
Yeah.
So like, it's kind of like I like it. It's just another challenge.
Yeah, and I don't know. I'm really glad I got them. I don't regret it one bit. It definitely adds some weight down low. I know my car feels heavier than my bomber even does, and I don't run any weight in my cars except for what's on there, really.
Yeah.
I don't add any weights or any SLW weights or anything, so I was kind of surprised to pick it up and feel how much heavier it made it.
For sure.
It's not like outrageously more heavy, but you can definitely feel a difference picking it up by the body.
I think our cars are like a lot more planted than they were stock, just because like the weight.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that, and I still feel like mine will get a lot better once I change those springs out, because I feel like there's a lot of unsprung weight when I'm side hilling and doing a few things like that. But
yeah,
I don't know. It's definitely kind of a different experience driving with the aluminum axles. I've never had any, and it really kind of changes your perspective on how you're driving the car.
Yeah, and yeah, you're saying this is your first set, and like this is my set. I can't believe I have them on both my cars.
Yeah,
like I don't know, it's just crazy. Like I always like thought, I was like, oh, that'd be so rad. And like I remember I just pulled the trigger on the bomber because I just wanted to do a full out build on the bomber, and then we kind of just did these last minute.
Yeah, and that's not saying that that's going to be our last sets either.
Yeah, no way.
There may be some more.
I want to do F9s under a 1.9 Wraith so bad.
Oh, yeah, I think it looks so good.
I can't even think about it. I just get so excited. I'm like, I don't know.
I don't know if I'd put F9s under my SCX-10 or under my Wraith and put the
I think everyone knows the feeling that, like, you just have to upgrade your RC car. Like, I know me and you, we talk about it. We're like, man, I just need to like upgrade my RC car, and then like once it's all done, then I'll just like be at peace.
Yeah.
And like now that like I'm at peace right now with both my cars, but I know as soon as I get a 1.9 Wraith, it's just gonna start over again.
Yeah, and I know I'm gonna want to build my Wraith too. also talked about like buying a VS410. You're literally buying a car that has everything done to it. You cannot do really anything more besides body, wheels, and tires to that.
And it comes with like some pretty sick tires. I don't know about the wheels. Like, I'd probably change the wheels out. And the body is already like so sick.
Yeah, I love that body. And we've just talked about it. It's like not the same to buy a already completely done RC car. It's half the fun is
just
building
upgrading
the whole
it.
thing.
Yeah. And it's kind of with everything. Like, you buy an RC car, it's just like, it's kind of like people with razors. Like, you buy a stock razor, and then like people are like doing like desert builds, or they're doing dune builds.
Yeah.
Or, like, you buy a car and then you can take it anyway. But I feel like with a VS410, like, it's just what it is.
It's a VS410.
Like, you can't change it.
Yeah. So I definitely see that's where a lot of the fun is, at least for me, and I know you too. We both get a ton of fun out of building our cars and making those impulse buys on those random things. And
yeah, I love wrenching on my car. Like, that's the best. And like VS410, like, you build it, you wrench on it, you're done.
Yeah, I love stripping out screws too.
Oh God, that shit sucks.
But yeah, I don't know. I just love building the car from a raw axial chassis. It's nothing at that point.
And I think a huge thing for us is like, you can't drive an Axial Fest.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I don't know why they do that. You would think Vanquish would be like a
certified brand.
Yeah, like a certified sponsor at least.
And maybe they are. And like, I kind of think I've maybe seen like a video or a picture or something of one at Axial Fest, but maybe it was just on display, but I don't know.
Yeah, maybe that was someone just like accidentally running one. I know they won't approve them in tech. You can run a Ripper because it runs those axial frame rails and skid. And
like, okay, like a VS410 I'm kind of iffy about. 110%, if I could, I would build a Ripper, and I'm going to one day.
Yeah, I would love to have a Ripper too, but I just don't think I will ever be able to justify
$3,000 for an RC car.
Yeah, $1,800 for pretty much a body and a cage. Like, I understand all the machine work that goes into it because I kind of work in an industry that's close to that. It's really insane what they do with those, machining all those panels, but I just cannot justify spending almost $2,000 on an RC car.
Like,
and I can't say it's worth less than that either.
No.
That's literally what it would.
It's like, it's very fairly priced, I think.
Yeah, with how much machine time goes into those, it's got to be absolutely ridiculous. I have no idea.
I think it's literally like owning a supercar in the RC world.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. You have the rare. I don't even know how many are out there right now. Maybe 60, 70 of them.
I think it's under 100.
Yeah, they're not even taking orders for them right now because I assume they're so overwhelmed with orders on them.
Yeah, I know a guy from our hometown, just like from a Facebook thing, like he said that he just put in for one and just like finished his payment for one.
Really?
Yeah. And like, that's just insane. Like, I would love to see that thing in real life.
Yeah, I can't wait to see one at Axial Fest this year. I don't know, in the videos they just look so insane, and I really wish Axial would
make a chassis,
come out with a car that's like at least trailing that. I know the 1.9 Wraith is kind of close with that tube style chassis, but
I think it'd be cool kind of like on the 1.9 race where people kind of make the cages kind of fastbacks.
Yeah,
it would make it kind of resemble a Ripper more, so I think that'd be super cool. Like, I remember on your first Wraith,
yeah,
it was a fastback like that, and that'd be super cool to do to a new one.
Yeah, on my first Wraith, I just cut those furthest back tubes out of the cage, and then kind of cut across it, and then
you bent them.
Put rod ends on the end, bent them, and put them down in where the shock tower kind of bolts to.
That would honestly resemble a Ripper pretty good. I just thought about that.
Yeah, I would love to do that to my 1.9 Wraith. I don't know. I don't really know if I have any pictures of that, but
yeah,
it was definitely my favorite fastback I've seen on a Wraith. I'm not a huge fan of when they do it with the links or.
Yeah, I know. Mine's done with the links because like I had my Wraith and like I kind of got out of RC cars for a minute, and my bigger brother, wanted to kind of try and get into it, so I was like, take the Wraith for a minute and like you can use that because like I didn't want him to have to go buy one. And while he was using it, he did that. I was kind of pissed, but it was like, whatever. Yeah. It doesn't look that bad, but it's all right.
Yeah, it's definitely not a huge deal, but I definitely think the bent factory cage tubes looks the best on those, and
Yeah,
I think
it looks more factory. Yeah.
it would definitely be close to resembling a Ripper. But Axial, if you're listening to this, we'd really like to see a 1.9 Rock Racer style car come out. Maybe a Yeti styled cage, something like that. Maybe a little smaller than the Yeti cage. I don't know.
Just copy the Ripper with plastic, please.
Yeah, because the Ripper is like really a pretty close, in my opinion, pretty close copy of the Yeti styling.
Yeah.
With like those little number plates on the back and everything, and it's just kind of got a Jeep front end.
But it's a linked vehicle. There's no trailing arms.
Yeah. Trailing arms would be sweet on a 1.9 too.
Yeah. They drag a lot. I feel like they drag quite a bit.
Yeah. I don't know, something short though, and like scale to a 1.9, because most of them are made for 2.2s, and
yeah,
they're very few for the twin hammers.
Yeah.
But I think if they actually went through the R&D to make those, they could make some good looking stuff for sure.
Yeah, I'm definitely like, I would love to have an in on Axial just to know what they're working on, because I feel like they're always working on something rad, like next best thing, and like, I don't know, I feel like all the dudes in the industry, like Harley, like I feel like they all have an insight, and like they get the little teaser pictures, but no one else does.
Yeah, they're all putting in their input on everything, and when those new products are about to come out, they're giving them their feedback on what they think about it before it's even in their hands.
Yeah, for sure, and that would be an insane thing to be in that position.
Yeah. So this week we also talked about going to our local hobby shop for that little meetup we do weekly, and I put those 2.2 Hyraxes on my bomber, and oh my god, did that make a world of a difference on his little race course. It's just a bunch of really jagged rocks and a couple high speed sections, but holy shit, it was, I don't know. Every race I did, I was leading by almost a lap in every race.
Yeah, and it helped out huge in the rocks where my tires tend to fall in the holes.
Yeah.
And it helped out huge on the big fast stuff. Like you just had more rotating.
Yeah, more mass.
Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely took everything a lot better, and coming around some of those tight rocky corners, I could kind of just hook the front tire and crank the steering, and it would just rip it straight through, and not even, I don't know, I maybe had one rollover or two, knock on wood, I don't know. But I felt like it made a huge difference. I hate how they look. Really still hate how they look, but
see, I don't think that, like, okay, they look huge sitting right next to my car. I just have the axial Baja tires, that the
KR2s.
Yeah, the KR2 BF Goodrich tires that come with the kit, and they look huge next to it, but when your car's sitting alone, I think it looks so good.
Yeah, it really doesn't look that bad. I just hate how big they are, how unscale all the lugs are.
They are pretty big. It's like monster trucking, but it does so good. You can't.
Yeah, the performance, you just can't knock the looks because of how good it performs. And
for sure,
we drove our 1.9s a little bit. That was the first time we drove them with our VP Axles. Was there? We kind of did a few laps around the course and drove around with some of our buddies. And the owner of the shop has a 2.2 axial deadbolt.
Yeah.
10.2.
Yeah.
And on some super wide SLW hubs and big 2.2s, and one of our other buddies had a
Viterra Ascender.
Yeah, Viterra Ascender, very heavy, was full droop setup. It was a crawler setup for sure.
It was very heavy, it was long, and it was low.
Yeah. So I let those two, we kind of sat back and watched those two take a whack at a line for probably 5-10 tries.
Yeah.
And then I hopped in with my honcho that's just the SCX10 with axles and wheels, really, and shocks, and I hopped straight up that line, and they couldn't believe it.
Yeah, I went right up it too.
And those guys are so heavy into the weights and everything, and we kind of just...
That's what they love.
We don't really believe in weights. Like, that just...
yeah. Like, they love, like, they're like, whenever we flip over back, like, make a mistake, flip over backwards, they're like, oh, put weight in the front end, put more weight.
Yeah.
And we're like, no, it's okay. Like,
what we've kind of noticed, where their weight comes in handy, we just use a little more wheel speed.
Yeah.
And kind of spin the tires a little bit, and it'll hop it straight up that. No even question about it. So it's all just takes a different driving style. But yeah, I went straight up that line that a 2.2 car couldn't, which is...
And it was a 2.2, like on the SCX10 chassis. So it was like, It was
really
all
big.
tire. Like there was
Yeah.
no way like he was gonna get high centered or anything, and like he just couldn't pull it. I don't know why.
Yeah, so it was really good to kind of rub that in everyone's face
In
and
the
just
weight
be like,
guys'
oh
faces.
man, yeah.
Because our vehicles, they're
And
super
then Riley
balanced.
just followed right up and kind of took a little harder line than I even did at the very top.
Yeah.
And it was,
They were
I don't
they were
know.
all mind blown.
yeah, these SCX10s just have failed to let me down. They just do so good up everything. I have
Many times
nothing bad to
I've
say
been-
about them.
Yeah, many times I've been blown away.
Yeah, they have their few little flaws out of the box, and I don't know. It's just really such a good car for anyone. I don't know. I feel like if I was recommending someone that was just getting into RC, I'd recommend a Bomber just because I have so much fun driving mine. It's
Yeah.
such a fun car to just go drive even by yourself.
But when we're like,
But when you're with someone, SCX10 is unbeatable. They're so much fun just challenging each other up lines. And
like when me and you, like when me and Eric go drive, we're like, okay, let's go drive. Like, okay, what do we want to do today? Do we really want to crawl, or do we just want to like kind of bash around? Like not bash, but just like kind of go a little faster and have fun.
yeah, use a bunch of wheel speed and hop over everything with
And
our
just
Bombers.
jump
and,
stuffs and like jump stuffs.
yeah, jump some stuffs.
Jump stuff and like, but like we can really get into it and like just do some super technical driving with our SCX10s, and like time and time again they just blow us away.
Yeah. And then later that weekend on Sunday, Riley got a little caught up doing some stuff, and I took a little trip down to the Logandale Trails in Nevada, which is about halfway between our hometown of St. George and Las Vegas. That's what's so great about living so close. I couldn't decide on going to a few different places, all within about an hour distance. So I decided to go there because the weather was nice, and I knew it would be nice and warm down there. And man, I was not expecting it to be that warm. I got out of my truck and got 150 feet from it, and I was already breaking a sweat, which all on its own really feels good to just do that this early. But
Yeah.
I don't know. It was super fun. I've never been there, but you kind of drive through town and go out like a little dirt road, and then you drop down a hill, and it's just a huge valley of rock. Like, I don't even know how to explain it. It's way bigger than anything we even have here in St. George, maybe comparable to Sand Hollow, but I don't know. It was crazy and so much steep stuff. I know Riley posted some videos of it on our Instagram of me driving my Bomber. I drove my Bomber for about a mile and then went back and kind of messed around with my SCX10 by the truck. But holy shit, that Bomber is just so fun, even by myself, just to go drive and carry a bunch of wheel speed up some super steep walls and just kind of challenge myself on what I could go up and down. And there was one wall that I was climbing. I showed Riley the video. My Bomber took about like a 40-foot fall down this ledge. It was absolute. I was just crawling up it, caught a little ledge, I guess. And oh man, it was the cringiest thing I've seen happen in a while. And it just went end over end all the way to the bottom down this rock. And I don't know, nothing broke. It's so crazy. They're so resilient. I just have the VP stage 1 kit on my axles, and
you have
your kit links.
Yep.
And I have Incision steering links.
Yeah.
And other than that, it's stock chassis wise, and
Bombers do so good, and like
it held up so good. I don't even run a spare either, so I was going wheels to front bumper, and it just held up. I don't even understand.
So good. Hopefully we can get back out there this weekend, take some more video, and you guys can see that on our Instagram.
Yeah, we're trying to get back out there soon before it gets too hot, because it's definitely getting there quick. We don't have much more time to run out there.
Yeah, it's warming up.
So yeah, and then on Monday, we went out and drove our SCX10s out at one of our little local spots. And we were kind of just having a good time, just cruising around, and Riley's steering started acting up again after we just replaced his shock towers that broke the panhard bar off. I'll let him explain that a little bit more.
Yeah, so we're kind of just going along. We were doing some pretty technical stuff, and
yeah,
I kind of just noticed that like I just wasn't getting the response, so pulled my body pins off and noticed that like the front case, the plastic part of the servo, like the front part, it just,
yeah, the top case.
it just sheared like the mounts off where it bolts in.
Yeah, it like didn't even like necessarily shear the ears off. It like sheared the whole case, which I've never seen. I've seen them.
It didn't snap like I've gone through probably 3 cases and it just snaps the case all the way across, but it just like sheared the ears and like that's it.
Yeah, I don't know why they've had such a problem with that. I have a plastic topped Savox in my bomber and I beat the shit out of it and it holds up, but for some reason you haven't had good luck with those. I think those are the 1230s. I think I have the 1210 in my bomber or vice versa. Mine's the waterproof one. So I don't know.
I initially bought this for my bomber and like I drove it once and I cracked the case all the way across the front. I'm like, oh, that's kind of weird. Like it was the weak point in my front end just because I have everything Vanquish in the front. And I was like, oh, that was kind of weird. Like maybe it was just like a freak thing. So like I ordered another one, like just another case. And it happened again, and I was like, dang, I got to get this thing out of here. So took it out. I ended up putting a Tekin T4400 in it.
Mm-hmm.
No, just 4400. Yeah. And then just tossed it on my SCX10. I was like, oh, this should be great. Like, I shouldn't.
Yeah.
And it happened again. So I really am stumped right now. Don't know what I'm going to do next.
Yeah, so we kind of, that was really short into our trip, so we were like, what do we do? So we went back to the truck, and I was like, let me see if I have a zip tie or something. So found one zip tied the servo to the chassis, and then ran a piece of subwoofer wire around the top to kind of hold it in place, and it held up for the rest of the drive. We probably went a good another half mile, and it held up the whole time.
Yeah, it's still zip tied and wire tied in.
Yeah, may as well just run the shit out of it, right?
Yeah, probably will just
it's not gonna break now.
No, definitely not. It'll be great.
Yeah. So yeah, get that replaced and look into replacement. And also, we put a BEC in your car too. So we turned that up to 7.4 volts, what your servo could take. And you want to touch on that?
Yeah, I've always kind of just been like a 2S guy, just kind of liked playing it safe. And
yeah,
I just like the simplicity when you take the hood off a car, so like the body off a car. And never really liked the clutter, but I was like, I had a BEC, and Eric's like, let's just wire it up really quick. And I also had a rigid light that I got from Vanquish, and I wanted to run that, and I was kind of stumped because 2S doesn't put off enough power to run it.
Yeah.
So I was like, you know what? Okay, let's wire it up. So wired in the BEC, soldered up the light, and it's been really good. I like it. I finally got some wheel speed because I only have a Tekin 35 turn in it. So didn't really have a lot of wheel speed on 2S, but with 3S it really opened my eyes, and I really think I'm gonna start making the switch over to 3S with all my cars.
Yeah, definitely. I've ran 3S for years.
I don't know why I've been so against it. I'm just kind of weird about some things.
Yeah, it definitely just kind of gives you that extra little bit that you need. I definitely don't need 3S in my bomber, and we both know that. And
yeah,
I can turn my bomber down to 50% if I want, but in the SCX10s with 35 turns, that 3S gives you just enough power to do anything that you want.
Crawl's great, and then even when you're just like kind of walking on the flats or just need a little wheel speed to get up a sandy hill or some loose rock, it's perfect. Yeah,
it definitely helps. So we're both running BECs. I put that Amazon servo in my SCX10, and that thing's kicking ass. I have nothing bad to say about it yet. It's a little bit slow, and it's quiet, doesn't make any noise like a Savox.
My Savox is so loud and so annoying. I hate it.
Yeah, which is surprising. 330 ounces of torque and $30. I mean, so far you can't beat it. I just put a cheap Team Associated servo horn on there, and I don't know. I'm really stoked on that. I'm running that on 7.4 volts off my BEC too, and it's ripping. I'm really stoked on that.
And we use that Castle Link to change up those BECs.
Yep, we use the Castle Link and just up the voltage. And if any of you have a BEC and haven't plugged it into your Castle Link yet, do it, because
it makes a world of difference.
Yeah, I think it's only at 5 or 6 volts when it's just the BEC. So you turn that up and adds a ton of speed, ton of torque. If your servo can take it, definitely feed it the power that it needs.
Yeah, I definitely need to stop spending money on servos and get on this Amazon game.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, but I don't know. That was only 2 runs on it, so we'll see how long it lasts. I mean, in SCX10, a servo really doesn't go through much abuse, which is why I don't understand why yours broke.
Okay, I think it might have been this is probably like a couple weeks ago around our first episode.
Yeah.
We were crawling, and I may have fallen off probably 45-foot cliff.
Yeah.
Maybe.
It took a little
maybe that
tumble.
might have done something, but I don't know.
Just a little tumble, but
just a little one.
I don't know if that's all that really happened was maybe that shock tower and that servo. You have to take that, you know.
Yeah, these things that was the second time I've fallen off that cliff, and yeah, so I'm pretty happy that these SCX10s can hold up.
Yeah, I also want to talk a little bit about that ripper bumper on my car. I kept trying a line that I was trying to film on with my SCX10 in Logandale. And I don't even know if I've shown Riley the video yet. I don't think I got the really good roll, but I tried this line probably 10, 15 times, set my phone down, did it just fine, picked my phone back up, went to film it, and I could not do it. And with that ripper bumper, when that car is rolling, it's solid. It's so solid when it's rolling.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm afraid I'm going to bend a frame rail or something, but it's just boom, boom, boom when it hits the ground. It's so nice to just kind of let it take it, and you don't really have much to worry about anymore. You're not going to break an axle housing. You might break a rod end or something, but that's about all that's going to happen.
Yeah, I know when we went crawling, when I broke that servo that same time, we were kind of pushing each other around with our bumpers and kind of to get up things. And dude, those things, like, they hit hard. Like, we kind of got lodged in a couple times just because those things are aggressive.
Yeah, they are for sure.
But I think they'll be really good for when we're at, kind of doing some more kind of comp style stuff. We don't want to break out a rope, or we don't want to like use our hands or anything. We can kind of just bump each other and get out of a situation. Yeah,
for sure. If one of us is having a hard time, just let whoever up or push whoever up. Yeah. Really, whoever needs it.
We were on this. We were on a pretty technical spot, and I pushed Eric up it, and we're like, dude, we just need a rope, and then I could pull you up, and then we'd be good.
Yeah, and I don't know, it's definitely gonna help a lot. Just that aluminum bumper just feels so much better.
Yeah.
So yeah, this week I announced the podcast on RC Crawler. You can see that thread in the general crawlers section. The screen name on that is Crawling 71. But we got some good feedback on that from a few of you, and we'd like to hear as much as we can. You can either follow up on that forum thread, or send us an email, DM us on Instagram. Any way you can get a hold of us, please do. Let us know. Yeah, leave ratings. Yeah, leave comments, everything, please.
If we're doing something shitty, like, we want to fix it, and like we want you guys to let us know, and like just so you guys like have a better time listening, and we
feel like we're really starting to get on top of this a little bit, and I know we're both kind of still trying to work out our personalities a little bit, trying to express them through some audio, but let us know anything. We're looking for as much.
If you guys want us to talk about some different things, if like we talk about kind of the same stuff too much, like, just let us know. And all feedback is good. Like, even if it's negative, even if you guys like are like wanting to talk a little shit on us, like, it's good. Like, we'll learn from all of it.
Yeah, please let us know. And I think next week we're probably gonna put a questions thing on our Instagram story. I'm not really sure. We kind of tried to do that today, but it was a little too late.
Yeah.
So we'll try that next week. We'll try and do that a day or two ahead, or maybe post it a couple days in the week and
kind of build up some questions.
Yeah, we'd really like to get some questions from all of you guys. You can either wait for that or email us, DM us, put it on that thread, whatever, PM me on RC Crawler. I don't know, just any way you guys can reach out to us. We'd really like to know who's listening. It's really good for us to hear that.
Yeah, for sure.
So we are now live on YouTube with our video feed, obviously, if you guys are watching that.
And we have been having a couple problems in the first two episodes, but I think we got it figured out.
Yeah, we got it figured out this time. So we should have a full video feed of the full podcast. And we're live on iTunes. We are now live on the Google Play Store. I know we had a request for that. Spotify, Stitcher, Podbean, and TuneIn, which you can listen to on your Amazon Alexa. Just ask her to listen to the podcast, and she'll toss that on for you to listen to.
Super rad.
Yeah, please leave us ratings on any of whatever you're listening on. Thumbs up on YouTube, rate us on iTunes, Spotify, just everything. Please leave us feedback. Please, I'm begging everyone.
Yeah.
Please do this.
Yeah. But yeah, we're stoked. We're having a lot of fun doing this, and we're even with the little support and little feedback we've had, we're super happy.
Yeah, we're gonna keep pushing forward. We're gonna try and we really want this to explode. So
yeah,
if you guys can help us out, just please. We're trying to give back to the RC community. We're trying to give back to all the people that are into the same things we are.
Yeah, and I think it'd be rad just to like show up at some events and be able to connect with you guys and have you guys talk. We've talked about at Axial Fest, if this is going good, maybe doing a live show. Yeah,
we'd love to do that. We could even have some guests in if anyone wants to stop in. Maybe at Axial Fest we'll do a few short 10-20 minute episodes with some guests. Maybe we'll pick up another mic and boom and get that rolling. I mean, I don't see why not. We have so much opportunity to grow here, and we also, like, if you're another someone on social media and on YouTube or anything that are into the RC, please reach out to us. Yeah, for sure. And I don't know, everyone listening to this is really helping us out. The more people that listen to us, the looser we come, and I don't know, it'll just keep getting better and better. And once again, our Instagram is the Unrelated RC Podcast, and email is unrelatedrcpodcast. No the on that one, just unrelatedrcpodcast@gmail.com. So please reach out to us any way you can and give us some feedback. We'd love to hear anything. Yeah. And we thank you guys for watching, and we're gonna be back. We're gonna be back every week, just talking about RC trucks. Yeah. So thanks, guys. Yeah. Have a good one.